Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Bergeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to. He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As always, remember our friends at Go Chevrolet online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. If you need to get into a truck this holiday season, remember over at Go Chevrolet, they got a great selection. And every day we're brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Our phone line is Cody Worsham's going to be here at 7:45. We'll go back with Worsham. We were supposed to get up with him yesterday. The weather is what threw us off yesterday. All that sunshine that we're going to get today is going to keep the kids out of school. I cannot believe
on exam week of all weeks.
I
They're
mean,
gonna do
like,
this to our kids.
When I saw that come across social media yesterday, I really thought I thought they were kidding. I mean, I really did. I thought that this was a absolute a week before the holidays.
I can't even read y'all the texts that I started receiving from other parents, like so mad about this. I mean, just absolutely livid.
I mean, I have always wanted to stay away from, back in my day, radio guy. I mean, like,
you can't.
I have always, like, just like, even if I have the origination of that thought, I'm like, this take sucks. Forget about it. You know what I mean? Like, don't even put it out there.
Don't yell at that cloud.
Don't do it, man. You know what I mean? Whoa, what's going on? What's going on? Okay.
What, last night?
Yes. No, I specifically remember being in the St. Jude Library when we were in 5th grade, standing in the middle of the room because hail was hitting the side of the school. And it was hitting the windows where, I mean, like, the librarian was white-knuckled, hanging on to pencils, like, in the back. She was, like, writing stuff down. There was a chick in our class who used to fart when she sneezed. She was in the corner freaking out. There were hoodlums like me, Beau Fourier, and Brandon Bourgeois waiting for the windows to blow out so we could jailbreak this son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, how are we going to get out of here? This is unbelievable.
I'm taking the TV.
We were supposed to have a test right now.
Hell yeah.
Now we're all huddled up in the middle of the room. I'm waiting for the windows to shatter on this son of a bitch so I can break out of here.
Maybe I'll study tonight.
Now Jordan's the one texting me like, no chance we have school tomorrow. I'm like, say what? Like, he's already built in the mindset that these weak-ass leaders above him pull the carpet out on school during exam week. Katie's got a high schooler.
3 high schoolers.
I got a 6th grader. He's taken 1 exam this week on Friday. So really and truly, you're not messing with his schedule. If my kid was a high schooler and had scheduled exams today, I would be going ballistic. The fact that these exams are being doubled up for these kids, that they have to take them on another day after they've been planned all semester to be today, and that the leadership is worried about a couple of raindrops that are supposed to come through between 11 and 2 o'clock.
It's not
They're
even
going to keep these kids out of school, and you can book it. You can absolutely book it. It ain't gonna rain.
No, it's not.
It's not gonna rain. And if it does, it's gonna rain for about 20 minutes, and then the sunshine's gonna be out. I'm telling you, I put a message out yesterday. I never go on Facebook ever.
Oh God.
Yesterday I went on Facebook. Break out your sunscreen
You did
because
not.
you can work on your base tan tomorrow. No doubt about it. Because East Baton Rouge School Board called off school due to rain. They should really be ashamed of themselves. I mean, really and truly. I mean, seriously.
It
I mean,
is-
this
it is
the
bittersweet.
school board should be like, what is your purpose? I mean, I would love to bang on another generation, but it's all our age people making these decisions.
It is.
Like, where the hell did you grow up, man? Seriously, who's David Tatum? This guy, East Baton Rouge School Board president.
I think it's
like,
Tatum, right?
Whatever it is.
Not a weatherman.
Dude, you're neutered, man. Who are you?
It's
I mean,
crazy.
these decisions that people are making about the winds blowing, call school off. Who sued who? Where is
Somebody
the
did.
lawsuit that this is all coming from? Somebody sued somebody, and now they're all scared to death to send people to school when it's raining. I mean, like, give me a break. If your job is to educate kids and you're using excuses like rain to call school off, where sixth graders are already starting to recognize that if it's starting to chirp about rain, they got a shot to miss school tomorrow. I mean, like, that's not the education that I want to put my kid into. Forget the math. Forget all the algebra and stuff.
New
the
math.
mindset that we're building. You know, like, I'm not some tough and rough guy because I went to school on rainy days, but I mean, good God, we didn't have to miss school because it was raining growing up.
And
I
they
mean,
have
who
early
is
dismissal.
making these decisions? The fact that these kids have to double up on these exams for exams that were scheduled today, any exam that was scheduled today in East Baton Rouge Parish, the kid should pass.
Just give him a C.
It just should pass. Or
should.
you should just, it doesn't exist. It's not their fault
God,
that
could
the
you
leadership can't make their way to school to administer the test because it's raining. Get the fuck out of here, man.
It's not raining.
I mean, like, are you serious? Do your job. Do your job. I mean, the fact that you were on the East Baton Rouge School Board, President David Tatum, Madam Vice President Dawn Collins, Mark Ballou, Dadrius
calling
Lannis,
them out.
Tramel Howard, Evelyn Ware Jackson, Jill Dyson, Michael Gode. You should all be ashamed of yourself today. And somebody on this school board should speak up for these kids and say, they don't have to double up on exams now. They don't have to take more tests because we don't want to do our job. Y'all are stealing on that board. That's shameful that stuff is being called off of these. It wasn't even 24 hours. You give them 10 hours notice that they're not going to school tomorrow after they've been studying for exams for a semester?
But what happened to waiting until like the
get the
morning
fuck
of? Like
outta
when
here.
it snows or ices, they wait
joke.
and try to figure it out.
That's a
Like why
joke.
couldn't we wait till this morning to realize there's no rain? Like these kids have been preparing and having scheduled study times for this, and like think about that, like what that
Not
does to
every
you.
kid.
Most kids, high school kids,
See,
like
that's
it's
what
a big deal.
I'm thinking that what if these people that you just of this alleged board, do they have kids? What if they're not ready for the
I hope so,
exam
if they're
and
on
this
the
is,
school board.
hey Dad, can you push this thing back
Right.
because of the weather? I'm not ready.
Right.
I mean,
And-
who's having these conversations at what level? And it gets to the point where it's real that they say, school's off. Like, call school off. Because why? Because the radar says it's going to rain tomorrow.
Rain.
Like, say what? Where is, somebody point me to, when did this happen? When did this start to become like a thing?
That's what I can't figure
Like,
out.
I'm
When
trying
did?
to recall, like, when did this, like, start to just pop up?
There had to have been an incident and someone got sued. Some school district got sued
Yeah.
over it, right? That's what Sophie's dad was saying yesterday. And he's
Somebody
an attorney.
got sued, for
yeah,
sure,
someone
man.
got sued. That's how we got here.
Because I'm from the age where I'm not of the where school got canceled age. I was the wake up at 6 a.m. and we're watching it like
Yes,
breaking
the
news, like it
ticker.
was the ESPN ticker, and
Yeah.
you're on pins and needles, just being like,
Yes.
please see the Sinlaw School Parish pop up, like. If it was
Oh, no doubt.
Brad Peach
Right,
Parish,
what
like I
happened
need
to
it to
that?
be,
I'm
I need
trying
class
to-
to be canceled,
I'm
dude.
trying to think what was grounds for calling school off when we were kids. I remember like snow freaked everybody out.
ice
That
on the
still
road.
does. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. We're not used to
We're
snow
not
down
prepared.
here.
I mean, I
but
think
in
the
South
tornado had to be ripping
Louisiana,
through.
to call a day because of rain, you're going to miss 3 months of the year. You're going to miss 4 solid months of the year if we start calling days off because it's raining.
Right.
Well, it's severe rain. When's it not severe rain?
Are they not inside?
Like, and when does it become severe? You know what I mean? Like, at what point does it become so severe that the kid can't go sit in the school building and take a test?
Right.
Or that you, the teacher or the school board member, can't drive to work and, God forbid, do your job? You know what I mean? Like, God forbid, man. Just because it's raining outside and you haven't been given a sick or an off day for some bullshit that y'all made up inside some boardroom that you got to call a day off during exam week? Like, man, nothing's going to happen. No, I mean, like, look at the world we live in. LaToya's down in New Orleans stealing from the place, banging her security guard, and, I mean, like, city grounds. Sharon Weston Broom's over here hiding from everybody. Nobody's got any type of repercussions. The East Baton Rouge School Board is the same way. Nobody's working. Everybody's just got their hand out skimming off the top, and nobody's got any repercussions. You want to cancel the kids' school day under exam week? Cancel it. Just cancel it. Who cares? Nothing's going to happen. Make them take another exam. Just double them up. I mean, like, the leadership that we are under here. It's crazy. It's just, it's nuts, the leadership that we have been failed by.
It is.
At every single level in Louisiana. I mean, it is just, you look at this East Baton Rouge school board members, and I mean, this is a joke, man.
And there were some storms in North Louisiana yesterday. I mean, we don't make light of that. There were dangerous tornadoes. I think a couple of people died. But the point is, like, they weren't making their way down here. Just wait until this morning. Just, like, do the ticker and tell us, hey, you can't make it. There's a tornado coming.
Electric
There's nothing.
factory.
There's nothing.
When you see your school come across, you were
I
just
know.
like, what?
What
It's the
happened to
Price
that?
is Right tonight.
I thought it
Right.
was a joke, man. I mean, like, I really did. I thought, like, there's no way they're calling this thing off during exam week for rain, right?
Is LSU canceled?
Yes, LSU is
Are you
canceled too. I
kidding
got
me?
the WFB notification yesterday. LSU is canceled. I mean, it's unbelievable for this.
Man.
Not a drop of rain outside.
Is this because they want to go back to virtual school?
I don't know.
Because I think they really enjoyed during the COVID, the pandemic time, whenever everybody was just like, I'm at home, open up your laptop, and they're like, damn, I got to go to school. Like, I'm talking about, like, the teachers.
Right.
I'm sure they enjoyed teaching it during the pandemic because all you do is sit in your boxers and open up a laptop, and
Boxers.
it's totally on the kids at this point. Like, bro, pay attention or not. Like, there's no real way to teach you here, so as long as everybody's available, you're kind of passing.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're back to chalkboard, like, oh, shit, I got to teach, like, I got to mold these young minds again. And I feel like they don't want to do it anymore
But they
because they
still
got a
have the
taste
option.
of virtual life.
They can still do that though. So make the exam virtual today then.
You
Or,
can't-
I
you
mean,
can't proctor it.
if you can make an announcement so fast to cancel school, then make an announcement so fast that the weather looks like it's going to be bad tomorrow afternoon. So all of the exams that were scheduled tomorrow are going to be moved up to this window in between 9
Don't
and
move
noon.
them up.
They
on you.
already are in between 9 and noon. Is
Okay,
the
so
thing.
what's
We're
the
already getting
problem,
out
man?
early. That's
What's-
the
what's-
thing.
what's-
Like we
what's
could
the
have gone
issue?
this morning. I think the rain is supposed to get here now this afternoon. So let's do 9 to 12 and be done and stay on schedule. It was already like that, rain or no.
See, I don't have kids, so I'm of the.
Clearly we do.
I know, but I'm of the thing.
Our
of,
heads are coming
these
off.
kids are pumped. Like,
Oh
They're
my
not.
God.
No, they're not.
I mean,
not the high schoolers. They're
yeah,
not
no,
because they have to double up
I would
on
agree
exams.
with that. I
They're
would agree with that.
pissed.
I mean, like,
they've
now
been
you have to
studying on a
yeah,
schedule.
But for a sixth grader who
Yeah.
doesn't have exams,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he was texting me yesterday
Telling you about
because
the
the
weather.
word's buzzing around school already that
think they're
they're
gonna cancel?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have school tomorrow.
the best feeling in the world.
I mean, the mentality is already. That's the worst part about it. It really is. It's not that the leadership is failing us. I mean, we've grown up in Louisiana. We've been used to that, right? It's that you talk to your kid, and this mentality is being built that, like, hey, if it rains, we don't have to go to school. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like I'm like spending the evening and night last night telling him, hey, buddy, you know, like when it rains in the real world, you got to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't be calling like your boss and being like, hey, man, Back at Mercy, we didn't have to go to school when it rained.
What do you mean have to go to work?
Yeah, like, is it cool if I don't come in today? I saw that there was a 30% chance of showers after lunch.
It is going to be like
I mean,
that.
like, can you imagine what it's going to be like when they
think it
like get to
already
like the
is.
workforce and are like, I mean, should we go to the pool or should we go to the? Yeah, I mean, I can tell the boss I saw the radar and saw that there was a shower coming through.
Oh, I can't believe you expect me to come in.
I think it is like that in a lot of instances. I mean, there's quiet quitting. That's a thing now. So, I mean, we're already seeing it.
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
I know.
They,
isn't that
why did they
ridiculous?
have to? Why did they have to
what
let
a
the?
2022 term.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Quiet
everybody was
quitting.
doing it, but don't have to tell people about it. Like,
Quiet
Yeah.
quitting.
I've quiet quit a lot of things.
It's a Gen Z
I've
thing.
been Irish goodbying since I was 16 years old. I
Quiet
mean, like,
goodbying.
have some balls, man.
Quiet leaving.
Good Lord.
I'm not quitting. I just don't want to be here. I'll come back tomorrow.
It's unreal.
For a little
man.
bit.
It's unreal.
It is unreal.
It's
Sorry we
unreal.
went on a 15-minute rant about that, but we mad.
I am not sorry.
We mad.
I'm not sorry.
We got
Send that to
kids.
David
Oh,
Tatum.
that's why Worsham's available today.
David.
You didn't have to teach.
Oh yeah, that's
Give us
right.
our money back, Tatum.
For real.
Good
I'll
Lord.
take it.
How much are you stealing?
Oh my God.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. God bless the kids.
What's going on in sports? Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate you being here. Today is Wednesday, which means it's the mailbag.
Yay.
You've got your
Call us
mailbag
and
questions.
bitch about your
Get your
school
weather-
being closed.
Yes.
Have your kid call in.
Have David Tatum call in.
Oh,
God. what
Please,
if he
David,
did?
come to the studio.
if
Answer
he
questions.
did?
Well,
Put your
he's not going
face
to
in
be on
front
the
of
road
people,
today.
man.
It's too dangerous.
Yeah, right.
But I know he's
God
not
forbid he
working.
drive. I'm sure David's got a driver.
Yeah, oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm sure there's
School board guy? You
I'm
think
sure.
so?
I'm sure.
Oh, man, what a life. We are just making up his life as we go on.
No, we're
I
not.
love it.
No, we're not. All right, we are going to talk to Cody Worsham coming up here at 7:45. As we said, we're going to talk to Cody about LSU basketball. LSU with another win last night over North Carolina AT&T. So, was that right? A&T, not AT&T.
North Carolina.
A&T.
Wait. Is it?
Yeah.
North Carolina
I don't
State.
know, man.
North Carolina State,
Right?
A&T.
Fucking David Tatum's got me all shook up, man.
Freaking
It's in the
David Tatum.
document.
Fucking guy, man. Yeah, okay, so KJ Williams had another double-double
Central.
last
North
night.
Carolina Central.
And Derek Fountain had his first double-double with 17 and 14. Fountain's a player, man. As they beat, that's right, Katie, North Carolina Central. Sorry about that, AT&T. But last night, Tigers win by 10, 67-57. As they improve again with another win on the season to 9-1, creeping up on conference play here. They'll play Winthrop on Saturday, and then they'll be off and kind of closing out December. They'll have one more game after Winthrop before Christmas versus East Tennessee State, and then they'll play one after Christmas. And then they're into conference play, man. They'll play Arkansas on Wednesday, December 28th is where they will open up. And then Tuesday, January 3rd, they are on the road in Lexington taking on Kentucky. It is going to be a tough conference start here for Matt McMahon. But some of the things that we've seen in the non-conference that stand out, at least to me, man, is that KJ Williams has been more than I expected he was going to be. I thought he was a big body, somebody that was going to be able to play rough and rugged under the rim and give you some opportunities at some rebounds and playing big on the block. But he's got a full game, man. His game is pretty cool to watch. He can play inside, he can play outside, he can handle the ball. He's really good defensively. He's a very intense, aggressive player. I love his game. He had another double-double, like we said last night, and starting to see guys like Derek Fountain come on. Fountain, transfer in from Mississippi State, 17 and 14.
He had his first career double-double last night.
That's right. So, you're starting to see some guys kind of get their legs underneath them as they move into conference and into SEC play. They had a huge win over the weekend versus Wake Forest in which they were down 20 at some points during that game and really kind of fought back, and they did that on the shoulders of KJ Williams. He really was showing off, I thought, Saturday in that in that game versus Wake Forest of just his full game. I mean, it was all on display on Saturday for LSU fans to see, and whether or not that will translate into the SEC, we'll still wait to see. But it's coming up. Wednesday, December 28th is when LSU will find out.
What are you thinking? Like, how do you think they'll look in SEC play?
I don't know. You look around the league, and the usual suspects are there. Kentucky's going to be good, obviously, with Tshiebwe.
Alabama.
Auburn got beat over the weekend, but they look like they're going to be pretty good again under Bruce Pearl.
And I'm a criminal.
Alabama beat the number 1 team in the country in Houston at Houston over the weekend. They have played a really tough and impressive non-conference schedule. Alabama has. They will be well tested when it comes to league play, and they're going to be a team that obviously is going to be at the top. I think Tennessee is another team that looks like they're going to be a tough out this season. And then I think even Texas A&M is always going to be tough. Now they don't have a lot of players, but one thing when you look around the league, you got a lot of coaching, got a lot of good coaches, and Eric Musselman in Arkansas, where LSU opens up, might be the best team in the league. They might be the deepest. I know that Musselman's as respected as anybody as you'll find in college basketball about leading a team and a program, and they're going to be a tough out as well. So
And don't sleep on Mississippi State, like Will Wade
Mississippi
said.
State.
We're number 17 right now.
Mississippi
Killing
State's
it
another
with a
one.
new coach.
Top 20. Yep. That's the thing about about LSU is that they're good and they have they got some good pieces, but the league's so good. I'm kind of curious to see where they stack up in the league too.
I gotta move Snoop. I can't see you.
Snoop on the Snoop.
Snoop.
I
Snoop
gotta
a
move
loop.
him
Bring
down
your
a
green
little bit.
hat.
Put him in. You can put him anywhere. Fit in. Remember your mailbag questions today. Jump inside of the chat. Ask your mailbag questions. You can text into the show. You can call into the show. We just ask if you get into the show. Have a take. Don't suck. Let us know what's going on. Obviously, we are reacting a little bit to the East Baton Rouge School Board
Just a little.
calling off school today here during exam week.
Bring us David Tatum's head.
On a state.
I want it wet. Make him sit in the rain.
Yeah, right.
Get rained on.
Earlier this week, LSU held their awards banquet, which kind of wraps up the regular season, wraps up the season for the Tigers, and starts to look forward to bowl play. And obviously, LSU is going to take on Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. Purdue going through a coaching change. Jeff Brom took the Louisville job where he played, and his brother, Brian Brom, former Louisville quarterback, also is going to be the interim coach for Purdue going into this game on January 2nd. So Tigers in preparation for that game, but they wrapped up the season in-house with their awards banquet earlier this week. This was before B.J. Ojulari had announced. This was before some of the guys had announced their postseason plans, like Jeray Jenkins. So it was an opportunity to get everybody together, one more time in the same room and celebrate the season. And they handed out their awards. And, as you go down the list, it is, it makes a lot of sense on some of the guys that obviously stand out. Jaden Daniels was named the team's MVP at the annual award show. That's the Charlie McClendon Most Valuable Player Award. Stop me if anything does not make sense on these awards that they handed out. The National L Club Permanent Team Captain went to Allie Gay, Mike Jones, and B.J. Ojulari. We knew that before the season had started when those guys were voted team captain. How about the Percy E. Roberts Defensive Player of the Year?
Who is Percy E. Roberts? He's everywhere on this list. He sponsored a bunch of the awards.
He must be a big donor. If I was,
Clearly.
Clearly, I didn't know if there was a story behind
if
this.
I was
if
to
he
guess,
if he's new to the table or if it's somebody I didn't know.
No, his name has been there a while, but I don't know if these are named after former players or these are donors because, obviously Charles McClendon, the most valuable player, is a former coach. And as much as I try to pride myself on knowing the history of LSU football, I have never heard of the players named Percy Roberts, Butch Dewey, or George Wallace. And
they might be sitting on their wallets.
Maybe so. Mm-hmm. Maybe so. Percy Roberts, Defensive Player of the Year, goes to linebacker Harold Perkins, which I thought was fantastic. I think Matt House and Harold Perkins took a picture. I don't know if you can pull that up on Perk's Instagram, which is an incredible picture of just coach player between House and Harold Perkins. And I had a chance to. I ran into Matt House on Friday before the state championship game. He was down on the field getting ready to watch Dunham and St. Charles Catholic. His son Jackson is the quarterback for Dunham and had a fantastic senior season, and he'll be moving on to play football at, I believe, Eastern Kentucky. But we were talking a little bit about his season and his crew and his defense, and I told him that, man, Coach, y'all kind of revived that feeling of LSU being kind of a defensive-minded team. It's been a hell of a run for LSU over the past 20, 23 years, 22 years, and watching the program experience a lot of success. And the majority of that time and the majority of that success was spent while being known for defense more than anything, right? I think 2019 obviously stands out more than all of them because of what Burrow and that offense accomplished. But that was very much an anti-LSU team, right? That was very much the different feeling squad of LSU. Nobody really felt like LSU was going to come out and light the scoreboard up and rewrite record books on the offensive side of the ball because they were never known for being, that good at the quarterback spot and therefore on offense. And they always had just first-round dogs on defense, DBU, putting out defensive linemen every year that were going in the top rounds. They just had players everywhere. And I believe that House and guys like Perkins and Ojulari on the way out, and guys that they have, coming in and coming back like Mason Smith, that they have brought back the feeling of LSU being just a nasty defensive group, right? Like where they always felt like they were going to keep you in the game. I mean, if you recall, when LSU was going through its best of times were probably, 03 through 07, where they were just getting off the bus and they had, 75% of the teams beat because they were just so physically intimidating. And guys like LaRon Landry and Tyson Jackson and Glenn Dorsey and Kyle Williams and Chad Lavallee and Claude Roten and, guys that just would change the game in one play from the defensive side of the ball is what they are revitalizing and what it feels like is coming back. And guys like Harold Perkins, and they've had teams and guys along the way that have kept that up. Devin White and, even that 2011 defense, right, that flew all around and would knock you down. That Kendall Beckwith-led group, even in 14 and 15 was a tough group. They have had defensive teams outside of those years, but, I'm just saying the majority of the last, 22 years, the golden age of LSU football, in my opinion, the identity has been on the defensive side of the ball. And I think House and, guys like Perkins are restoring that, right? And to see Perkins be named the Defensive Player of the Year in his first season on a defense that featured, guys like Ojulari, who's going to be a first-round pick, and, guys that were coming on throughout the season. And for him to take this award home, obviously not a shocker, not a big surprise, but just another piece of evidence of the future and that side of the ball and, what this week means as well with recruiting and what could happen in the transfer portal and how that defense can be revamped real quick and getting ready for next season. Other awards handed out on over the weekend was the Offensive Player of the Year that went to Josh Williams, which I think is a very deserved recipient. What a story for Williams. What a year for Williams. Incredible to watch his development and evolution into a very confident number one primary back in the league, right? There was a certain point where you were wondering why Josh Williams was in the game early in the season. Why are they playing, and he was always kind of referred to the walk-on, and we've heard, through media members and through people that have covered him that they don't like being tabbed. Him and his family don't like the moniker of being tabbed a walk-on. He has earned his scholarship, and rightfully so. But then there, at the mid-season point, you were almost looking for him to be on the field because of how consistent and how solid he was, really throughout the consistency of the season. And to see Josh Williams be named Offensive Player of the Year, I think is very deserved and makes a ton of sense. Special teams player, there was only one, maybe the place kicker, maybe Ramos.
Oh, Ramos, yeah.
I thought that maybe he would have pushed Jay Bramblett, but I thought start to finish Bramblett was as solid and as consistent in this unit that obviously struggled tremendously throughout the season. But I did think that Bramblett was a bright spot.
I'm almost shocked they didn't give it to Greg Clayton.
Just catch it.
Just to kind of rub, cut your nose off to spite your face, just because it would have been almost funny.
Right.
To be like, this is where we're at right now. But Bramblett honestly does deserve it. Had a couple of great punts. Got a couple of lucky bounces that we needed where, didn't come off the foot the right way, but stayed in bounds and was able to help you out win some football games. So, obviously, he deserves it. Ramos, not bad this year. I don't know I think he missed 2 kicks.
Yeah. I would say definitely most improved on that side, in that unit.
Well, he probably feels more pressure than anybody because we can't block it, we can't snap it, and it's like I'm just trying to kick it, but it can't even get to me yet. So for him to be able to kind of still stay consistent when given the opportunity, good for Ramos.
Yeah, I thought that he had a really confident building season. Mm-hmm. I expect him to be very, solid going into next year because of the confidence that he built this year. He hit some big kicks
and stepped into a tough spot.
He hit some big shots. Especially like you said, like coming in after kicks have been blocked, coming in after that the group is going through personnel changes, coming in after where you're dealing with just inconsistency. That's the thing about specialty. That's the thing about football. That's the thing about sports is that you're counting on other people. You know what I mean? Your success really sometimes more than others, hinges on what others going to do. Ramos is as good as his snap and his holder is going to be, right? Which he has zero control over. He's just kind of trusting that it's going to be
Trust
there.
The process.
Yeah, right, and that he's got to make his kick. And I thought whatever the situation was, he showed that he was mentally tough and going to make the kick. And I thought that he was another name that was probably kicked around for the Special Teams Player of the Year, but it makes a lot of sense that it went to Bramblett. The Dewey Award goes to the player that represents outstanding character and contributions to the team, and it went to Allie Gay. We had a chance to talk to Allie Gay the week of the Alabama game, or it was the off week leading into the Alabama game. Him and Mekhi Wingo came and sat in the studio for about 15, 20 minutes, and I know that we probably banged on Gay a little bit for not having the season that we expected, or maybe even the last 2 years that we expected him to have. He'll be a draft pick. He'll be at some point drafted. I don't know where he'll be drafted just because of his size, and he's got some good film out there. But one thing that you cannot deny, and one thing that you'll never forget, I think, about Allie Gay is how good of a person he is, and how great of a representative to LSU, and how much he really loves Louisiana and LSU. Think about an experience for a guy like Allie Gay, who comes over from a third world country, limited in the amount of time that he was spent. He had spent in the United States before he got to LSU. Got here as someone who really had no idea the culture, the setting, the situation that he was putting himself into, and to see, just kind of his trajectory and kind of where he's landed, I think surprises some people. If you remember, the best game that Allie Gay ever played at LSU, in my opinion, is the first game he ever dressed out at LSU, and it was versus Mississippi State, Mike Leach, and the Bulldogs in the COVID season as the opener in front of a 10,000 person Tiger Stadium.
All the cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, and he was unblockable. He was unblockable. He kept them in that game. He wrecked that game.
It almost kind of set him up to fail because
Right.
you were looking for such a bright spot on the defense.
I mean, I remember,
you got 11.
there was conversation after that game whether Gay was going to play another snap.
Yeah, went to the
Because
house.
Jamar Chase had just opted out, and it was becoming like something that people were talking about. Like, if this guy plays well, is he going to keep playing? And Gay had played so well versus Mississippi State. I mean, I want to say like 5 sacks, 4 sacks. I mean, it was stupid. It was like video game numbers. And people were like questioning, is he going to play another game at LSU? And he took, obviously he did. And, they had some film out on Gay, and people started to figure out how to block him. I think a lot of the things he does for LSU go unseen now. He still struggles in some areas, but as far as against the run and, really being able to defend against the block and get off the block and make a play, I think that, there are some good qualities to Ali Gay that will translate to the next level. And though I don't think that, we all think he probably hit his ceiling, I think there's also some things that he does every single game that the untrained football eye doesn't really see. That there's things that he, whether it's gobbling up double team, taking on blocks, making sure he stays fit to bump runs outside or create pressure to push on the backside for a guy to get pressure. There's all types of things that go in, like we said, that, you have to count on other people, where Ali Gay just does things that does not really bring a lot of notoriety. Did he struggle over the last 2 years? Undeniably. Does he still do things that measure out, that NFL scouts look at and say, hey, might deserve a shot? I think so. I think that he will definitely get a shot at the next level. Whether or not he can make a 53, I will wait to see what team he ultimately lands on. But, I think he's done a lot of good for LSU. And one thing that he's done from, just a native of Louisiana, somebody that cares about what the flagship university looks like and feels like, is that he has represented LSU as best as you could ask. He was a great representative for his time at LSU, and I think he will always be somebody that flies the flag for LSU wherever he is, whether it's back home. And I believe he's from Africa. I don't want to say that. He's
that's what
obviously
I was looking up.
maybe Sudan, somewhere around that area. I don't want to speak out of turn, but wherever he is, he will be always loyal to LSU. So he gets that award. The Defensive Leadership and Performance Award went to B.J. Ojulari, another very deserved player. I'm looking forward to watching Ojulari at the next level. The Lineman of the Year went to offensive tackle Will Campbell. And Campbell, I wanted to spend a couple of minutes, and we'll talk about Campbell here before we get to Worsham.
It's the Republic of Gambia in West Africa.
In West Africa. Okay. This is Caparotto real quick.
Ooh, yeah. Let's get that weather.
Do you think you heard Durant?
Gambia is pretty cool. You do like safaris there.
I
It's
think
famous for being a bird watcher's paradise.
It's probably cool for some people. I'd imagine deep in Gambia there's some.
Oh, is it Gambia?
I don't know.
Not Gambia. I feel like you were passive aggressively correcting me.
Gambia?
Right? Weren't you?
Gambia? Gambia? I don't know. It just feels like that's how it sounds in
It
my
does
head.
feel like it should be Gambia, I guess.
But yeah,
My bad.
Birdwatcher's Paradise. Why would I not know about it?
Why would you not?
Yeah,
They have
that's-
over 500 species of birds you could watch there.
How much do I have to pay for a weekend?
Are you a bird watcher?
No.
No.
Ron, our guy, doesn't believe in birds. He said he didn't see a single bird during COVID.
Yeah, that birds aren't real movement. I've
Uh-huh.
seen that around. People have like meetings about it, and they'll have their little signage up. I've seen them in restaurants.
Need to go
and
to
I don't get
Gambia.
it. I want to go ask them, but then I'm like, I don't want to get into this with you.
Well, a lot of people think that the birds are actually robots and
Right.
that they're charged by sitting on the power poles and they're government spies.
That's
Oh,
about one
wow.
of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my
Oh, that
life.
is deep. That
One of the
is.
dumbest things I've ever heard.
Wow,
I
that
mean,
is
you-
that is some
I'm
tin
here-
that is some tin foil on your head
I'm
right
I'm
there.
here for the
dude.
conversation. I'll hear you out.
Like, what kind of
They're
people? I
flying
need to
birds
know.
in.
How do they charge them? Oh, they stand on the electricity poles. Don't you always see them up there? And you're like, damn,
Who are
yeah,
these
actually I
people?
do.
Who are these people?
I don't know. Deep
Where
state.
do they come from? Like, what are their beliefs? That's stupid.
Don't knock it before. Just because you're uneducated on it doesn't mean you get
Don't
to call it
knock
stupid,
it.
Katie.
What do you mean?
West Shin.
Baby
Jesus,
birds
Lloyd.
die in my hands all the time. I'm always
Why?
because I'm always rescuing them. They fall down my outdoor chimney in the spring, the eggs, and I'm always nursing them back to health.
Well,
What?
Just plug
I
them in with
do.
the
It
US.
kills me.
What?
You can ask David.
Wait,
I do.
what?
I can't help it.
I've not forgot about my Will Campbell take, but what?
I can't just let them fall and
Wait.
then like die.
What?
Like,
Tell
and
the
I can
story
help
again.
them.
Tell the story
And
again.
I've nursed some back to health and they've flown off and like thrived. And I think one came back in my house one time and like visited and then flew back out. I'm not
See.
lying.
Wait, you've literally like saved birds?
Yes,
With
every
what?
spring. I get like a little syringe and I'll feed them and make a little nest and put them in there.
What do you
What
feed
the-
I
them?
do.
What do you feed them?
Condensed milk.
No, I think I looked it up.
pumping
it's
for
dog
them?
food. Yeah, I'm pumping. I pump.
She starts lactating whenever a bird falls down
I
the
do.
chimney.
I do. I feel it coming on. My
And then,
shirt
like,
gets
Literal
wet.
bird feeding?
I wet dog food and then you like mix it with water and then just feed it to him.
David has to just come home and be like, "What the?
What?
are you
What is-
doing
So
what
today?"
used to it now, and he's so used to burying.
How
the
bored
ones
are
that
you?
don't make it.
Like-
It's not a boredom thing. It's I hear him out there crying, and I can't just let that go on. I'm sorry.
Just plug him
That's
into the
just
charger.
a thing. I know. It doesn't make me a bad person.
No.
makes you a good person.
Katie from PETA.
Yeah.
Really?
It really. Well, it sounds like a chimney situation that we have to get under
I got
control.
it fixed recently. I had them
Golly,
come
man.
put
I
screens
just
on and a
burned the
cover.
birds out of my chimney.
Oh God, yeah, I can't
I
do
mean,
that.
I'd burn fires in the summer to shut them up.
Oh God, Jordy, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I
That's
mean,
what the chimney guy told me when I called him. To
Yeah,
come over and
absolutely.
fix it. He was like, "You could just light a fire," and I was like, "No, no."
Oh man, there could be a more flammable household than a bird's house, like a little bird
no
nest.
doubt.
No.
Shooting flames out of the chimney.
Poor
Yeah,
little
thank you.
bird.
Got him!
Got it. Tweet. I also saw Jordy see a lizard and how he handled that situation. I'm not
Yeah,
shocked that
see?
he's burning birds. Stepped on it with his foot and kicked it out the door.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'll pick up a lizard and put it outside.
Lizard took my keys.
He did.
Might have.
And your
Greg probably
and
took
your
your
Saint and
keys.
your Saints helmet.
David Tatum's got my keys.
Wait, so how does Santa get down the chimney if you've wired it?
We open it up for
Oh,
we open it up for Christmas Eve.
Good one. Good one. No carpool this morning. Nobody's listening. Sorry about the F-bombs earlier.
No,
it's on you,
okay.
David.
Yeah.
Tatum, not Alligood. City Cafe. Remember, we're brought to you daily by City Cafe. Go check them out. citycafebr.net online where good friends meet. City Cafe, been in business for over 100 years. George O'Neill and O'Neill Lane. I guarantee you they're open today. So if you are if you're holed
Oh,
up
it's loud as
and
good.
need
hell
some place
in
to
there
eat
today.
as you're shivering around your fireplace at
Baby
home
whistler.
with no electricity due to the sunshine outside, head over to City Cafe and grab yourself one of their daily lunch specials. They got them over there. Go see Cody and the crew. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Will Campbell, really quick before we get to Cody Worsham. Let me know when we have
Yeah, they want to know about this.
Worsham.
My bad.
I don't have like a groundbreaking story on Campbell. I just think that how underappreciated we are and I don't want to say that as if like we're taking him for granted because I just think as much as we heard about him in high school and the way that he stepped in spring and plugged into left tackle and Brad Davis coming through here in the offseason and telling him how, telling all of us how he motivated a guy like Campbell where, he said on the first day of spring, I started him with the third team. He said, and I made him earn every single rep to make sure that he went to the first team. He also mentioned that every meeting that Will Campbell has ever been in at LSU, and I still go back and forth with Davis. He and I still text every now and again, and sometimes I'll ask him, is this still the fact? And he says, 100%. Campbell is the first person in the meeting room every single day. Every single day. Does that mean he's going to be an All-American? No. But couple that the fact that he is an All-American, and that's his mindset, maybe we do take for granted what we're watching in Will Campbell. Maybe we don't understand how special of a player he really is. When guys like Andrew Whitworth, when guys like Todd McClure, when guys, there was one more that Jacques Doucet was talking to, one more prominent offensive lineman of the past with Andrew Whitworth, Todd McClure, and Alan Faneca, the Hall of Famer out of all three of them. All of them, when Jacques asked what Emory Jones and what Will Campbell were doing as true freshmen, they had no words. They could not even describe the thought of them, those guys, Faneca, McClure, and Whitworth, 3 of the most dominant offensive linemen that LSU has ever had and ever produced to the league, all look at what Will Campbell and Emory Jones are doing and like raise their eyebrows and take like deep breaths. They're like, I can't imagine doing that. I mean, when those guys speak of it in that terms and you watch how Campbell played as a true freshman and the fact that he's going to be on campus for 2 more seasons is it's unfathomable to think how good he may be 2 years from now, because the crazy part about Will Campbell, and it really is nuts, is that he's still a baby. He still looks like a baby at 6 foot. I mean, he is the Jolly Green Giant that looks like a toddler. I mean, like, he is a great Halloween costume by himself. You know what I mean?
Like, just put on a diaper.
I mean, like, he looks like a 300-pound baby that will kick your ass. I mean, that will absolutely flip the switch when he gets out on the. How many times did he get beat this season? I mean, really and truly, where did he slip up? Where is the time that you said Campbell's costing us? Campbell's killing us. Campbell can't block this guy. At what point? I mean, he missed a block against Arkansas, I think. But they had some confusing stuff going on. But, I mean, for the most part, wire to wire. And this guy started wire to wire. Other than a freak health episode the Friday night before Tennessee, he played every snap of his freshman season and won the majority of them. I mean, Whitworth, McClure, and Faneca can't fathom what these guys are doing. I mean, we all just kind of took for granted. I remember when they were coming up in Monroe and when Emory Jones was at Catholic High, they're going to start at LSU as freshmen. It's easy to say they're going to start as LSU as freshmen. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to play at LSU as a freshman. These 2 guys started, and specifically Campbell for right now. Both of them just incredible of what the future looks like around them, but specifically Campbell. Campbell came in, had his starting spot earned by the end of spring, carried it over to fall, started the opener, and closed out the season. I mean, I know that all of us watch a ton of football. We all respect the game. We love the game. We love watching the game. And it's tough to speak of. But it's crazy, this freshman class, how good they are. I mean, with guys like, Campbell and Jones that you're building your entire offensive line around. By the mid-season point, you were calling your plays to the strength of the freshman offensive linemen. And guys like Harold Perkins and guys like Mason Taylor and guys like DeMar Tolian, who's playing more late into the season. Scout Team Player of the Year, Walker Howard for LSU as a true freshman. I mean, that's as gratifying of an award to see on paper as any of them. To see that Walker Howard is the Scout Team Player of the Year. What's that tell you? Every single day he was bringing it against a pretty good group on defense, right? I mean, they don't have All-Americans flying around there in the defensive backfield like they've had on the Ponderosa for the last 20 years, but they still got a group that'll get after you. And a group that I guarantee you it was competitive day in, day out for a kid like Howard. And for him to be the Scout Team Player of the Year tells you, again, the future's bright with this class, man. This 22 class feels like Whitworth in that group who came in 01 and was the backbone to the 2003 national championship. I'm not saying that this group wins a natty, but you look around and the contribution that this group is making feels like a year and a half from now, man, that this program is in really, really good hands. Is Cody there?
No, I keep looking for him, and I sent him the email. But I was going to say a little
Caparotto is good for 8 a.m.
Heck yeah.
Does he need a? Oh, and Randy Lanois said he knows your
I
guy
know.
that you're railing on.
It's Tatman.
Tatman. He says, good friend. Known him a long time. So if you want to get his number, it's out there.
He said he's a great guy. I feel bad now. I don't like to
dog it.
disappoint Randy Lanois.
Yeah.
You don't
Thank
need
you.
to.
God, the
Randy, I'm
Braun
sorry.
father.
I know,
I'm sorry.
Randy,
I'm
we're
sorry,
sorry.
Randy. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Randy.
I'm tired
I
of
feel
seeing
bad.
my
Randy.
fucking kids at
I
home.
feel
I will
bad.
kiss the ring. Who do I need to rail on, for God's sakes? Give me the name.
I can do it.
Don't be mad at us.
It's like a
Randy.
Mad Lib. Just insert the name. I don't care who it is. I'm just mad.
David, you got the reference from Randy Lanois. You're good in my book, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good now. We're sorry.
I'm sorry. Bring me my keys back, though.
And Will Campbell's good.
And Will Campbell is great. I don't. How do you equate the greatness of a kid like Campbell? Can you even really illustrate how good he is? I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could describe how good Campbell
And
is.
I think the best compliment you could say is he was as advertised, but then when you say that, it's crazy to think because you're like, all right, you're depending on, like, all right, 5-star left tackle. You're like, all right, he's going to probably play for you at LSU. It's like,
Yeah.
no, he's going to be your best offensive lineman and maybe one of the best offensive linemen in the SEC.
Yeah.
Like, he was better than anticipated, and you were depending on him. So, and you never heard a word from him.
No doubt. He just shows to me, and hear me out on this. I'm not saying that this is who he is, but this is the guys that he reminds me of when hype comes in with a player. LeBron James, Tiger Woods. Nobody ever thought those guys could live up to the hype. Nobody thought that they would be as good as they were hyped up to be. LeBron was on the cover of SI when he was 16 with the title that said, The Chosen One. I mean, that's tough to live up to. Tiger Woods, you knew about him before he got to Stanford. He was winning the amateurs when he was, 13 years old. He was on talk shows when he was 2. I mean, you knew this guy was going to be great once he touched down. He was better than they thought he was going to be. LeBron was better than you thought he was going to be. Will Campbell was better than I thought he was going to be. I mean, out of all of them, out of all the freshmen that played this year, Mason Taylor is, I didn't expect him to be that good. So he was a surprise, right? Like he just kind of
I didn't
surprised
think he was going to
me.
be leaned on that much.
No, right. Like his responsibility was the part. But I mean, like his capability as a true freshman, you're like, damn, he's better than I thought he was going to be. Harold Perkins, obviously, you see him in person, you're like, damn, I didn't know he was this good. You know what I mean? Like the film can only tell you so much, but this cat can run like this. He can close like that. I mean, and then you see other players that are making plays as true freshmen. Even a guy like DeMar Tolian out there, late in the season, you could tell it was tough for House and the defensive crew to keep him off the field. I mean, he was sniping people like Baskerville. I mean, Baskerville was playing as good as anybody late in the season. They were still finding ways to get Tolian on the field. He's a true freshman out there. Will Campbell was talked about for 3. I've heard about Will Campbell for 3 years. 3 years. We went on a speaking tour with Ogeron up in Monroe like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, and we were in we were just in a little spot in West Monroe, and Neville's coach was there, West Monroe's coach was there, Rustin's coach was there, and I believe that's it. But a lot of the prominent high schools were up there, and Mickey McCartney, who was the head coach at Neville, I'll never forget, was telling a group that we were sitting off to the side before, the thing kind of started, and he was talking about Will Campbell. He was talking about this young offensive lineman that he's got and how he is going to be maybe the best player ever to come out of Neville. And you were thinking like, damn, an offensive lineman? Like they've had some pretty good players come out of Neville. You know what I mean? But like to hear the head coach who doesn't, he's not really like that. He's not really like a guy that's going to get out and tell you like, hey man, you got to come see my program with these guys. I mean, you could tell he was very humble in the point of, we got a guy that is going to be totally different than anybody else that we have produced or has come through here. And the first time you saw him, even back then, I remember we saw him and you were like, good Lord, this kid's 15 years old. And to see, his face looks identical to what it does that day, but he's added about 35 pounds onto him. And, I think what we kind of lose on Campbell and maybe not give him as much credit for is how athletic he is.
Yeah, it is weird.
That is a big dude that is an athlete. Like, grab a basketball under the rim, take one step back, and, like, Shaq dunk it on you. at 300 pounds and that type of weight. I mean, he wears 300 pounds like a lot of people weigh 215. I mean, when he tucks his shirt in, you can see his waistline. I mean, the most impressive thing about him as well is like the way he leverages blocks. And I think Coach Caskey was the first to point that out to us.
The back bend. The
way he can like plant his feet like an oak tree, and you can just punch him and push him, and he just doesn't move. Like he's like a big dancing grizzly bear. You know what I mean? Like just like a big athletic grizzly bear that you got to tangle up with for 3.5 hours. And even guys like Will Anderson was like, I'm out. Mm-hmm. Like I'm tapping out. This kid, I can't get around this kid. I mean, they had to shift Dallas Turner over to Will Campbell and put Will Anderson on Emory Jones halfway through that game, and Emory was still working on Will Anderson because of Campbell kicking his ass so much in the first part of it.
That game was on.
I mean, they got to have NFL scouts looking at LSU's tackles right now thinking, can these guys hurry the fuck up? I mean, like, we need them in the league today. I mean, both of the ways that they handled the competition this year, there's no way Brad Davis, I can't wait to talk to him, in the offseason like we had a chance to last offseason and bring him back through here and just like ask him like the moment when you were like, oh my God, like these two tackles as freshmen are that good.
I'm going to have to play them.
Not only am I going to have to play, like we got to build the whole group around them.
And then Zalance Hurd just got a 5-star. So the offensive line is in good.
Oh man, and look, I watched Tyree Adams play against Zachary from St. Aug, and he's very impressive too. And I can tell you that they love Bo Bordelon, and they love Fitzgerald West. I mean, the offensive line in a year can go from being just, I mean, Brad Davis couldn't field a group. He couldn't field he couldn't field a unit a year and a half ago. Now he's got 2 freshmen All-American with a 5-star coming in.
And a 5-star quarterback waiting in the wings.
I mean, just
because when you think about how it's set up, when you have an offensive line that's that good, you almost want a more prototypical like drop back passer. I know that Walker Howard can run, but whenever you're able to build a pocket around somebody with his throwing ability, that's what gets you excited, right? Like Will Campbell is a junior, Emory Jones is a junior, Walker Howard starting. Like the projectability of this team in the future as what LSU fans. That's why I think they're clamoring for Walker Howard now, because they just you preach patience. Mm-hmm. We'll get there, and when you get there, it's going to look exactly like you think it will. They're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Cody's looking for the link. I'm pushing.
They emailed it.
I'm pushing back Caparotto 10 minutes.
I mean, I have his email.
Let me take a break. We'll be right back. We'll set up the second hour. We'll come back to you. As we are brought to you daily by RMB Builders. Get in touch with RMB Builders. They're online, rmb-builders.com. Got a great Instagram over at RMB right now. As you can check them out there at rmb-builders.com. rmb-builders.com is where you can find them. Hour 2 next.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue.
Can y'all hear me?
Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. Around, we will talk to Dr. Steve Caparotto, meteorologist from our friends over at WAFB, to get a day on, to get a look at the day here as far as the weather is concerned. Let you know what time you can get out and
out there.
Yeah, stay indoors.
Get on False River if you want to go water skiing today. All right, our friend Cody Worsham, we look forward to talking to him all the time, man. Cody is, I think he does everything at LSU right now.
Today, I know that.
Interim VP of Communications at LSU. He's also the Chief Brand Officer. I was in his classroom earlier this semester, so I know he's teaching over at LSU. Content creator. He's doing a lot. He's a great follow on Twitter and a friend of ours. At Cody Worsham is where you find him. Cody, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. Good to be on with y'all. I'm just out here braving the elements, so
yes.
Just trying to
trying
to stay dry at this point.
Yes, Cody, another affected one. 2 daughters, Cody. So I mean, now his whole day is shifted.
Yeah.
Their school is off, right? I mean, all right, Cody. We were talking a little bit at one point. You did the recruiting thing. You covered recruiting. Will Campbell was named the offensive lineman, the best offensive lineman on LSU's team earlier this week at the awards ceremony. And we have seen a lot of 5-star guys come through Baton Rouge. Have you seen one live up to the billing quite like Campbell did this freshman season?
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome. I think the best testimony that I could give for Will Campbell is from the award show on Sunday. Brad Davis got up there and presented the award for Lineman of the Year. And I don't think a coach should compliment a player more than Brad Davis complimented Will Campbell. He got up there, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, sometimes, you coach a player and you get that player better. Sometimes you coach a player and that player makes you a better coach. And that's what this guy's done for me. I mean, he's made me such a better coach, through our relationship. He's the best, you couldn't pay a higher compliment to a player than Brad Davis did. So when your position coach thinks and speaks that highly of you, that says a lot. Obviously, Will's passed the eyeball test this year. It kind of reminds me of Alex Bregman a little bit. When Alex Bregman got to LSU, I remember Paul Maneri, like day one, said he's batting third, he's starting at shortstop, no matter what. That's going to be where he is for the rest of his career. And it's kind of like when Will Campbell got here, they're like, yep, that's our starting left tackle for the next 3 years. So get used to it. And I think this year was great for so many ways because, one, Will was really good, obviously. But two, like he got to learn on the fly, and there's no better learning experience than getting out there and facing live bullets. And that's what he did this year against some really, really good players and really good competition. I kind of looked at that team toward the end of the year and thought, man, you look at Will, you look at Emory Jones, you look at Harold Perkins, you look at some of these young guys that are out there playing. How good are they going to be in 2 years? Their first. Think about all the guys, all the great freshmen that have come through here in their first year. Let's use Alabama as the example. They faced Alabama and got their brains beat in. Yeah. And you kind of look at them like, can they get it done before their career's over? Can they get over that hump? These guys have already gotten over that hump. So that now their expectation the next 2 years is going to be to win every game they play, which is what you want. And Will's kind of the leader of that. So excited to see his development. He's a phenomenal talent, and just can't say enough good things about him.
Cody, from the administration standpoint, the Brian Kelly first year at LSU, I know that there were it feels like the last year has been almost 5 years and what has been accomplished in kind of rearranging the roster, changing the policies and procedures, implementing the accountability plans with the SWAT teams and everything that's going on, to winning the SEC West and going to Atlanta. From your vantage point and the hats that you wear for the university, what was it like watching Brian Kelly in year one run this football program?
It was like watching a masterclass in culture building. Jordy, you've started a business and you've seen, from the ground up how important it is to build your culture. I think before, as a younger professional in my 20s, I probably heard a lot of that stuff and thought, yeah, that's just kind of corporate jargon and, everyone says it, but what does it really add in terms of value? And now that I've been fortunate enough to have a few leadership positions, you see that's the first and most important thing is putting that culture into place. Because if you don't have that in place, your people aren't going to follow you. When things go wrong, they're going to, veer off a different path, and you're going to have infighting, and you're going to have all kinds of issues. I've kind of looked at Brian Kelly and just been taking notes. All right, what can I use in my day-to-day work in terms of leadership? How do I define the culture of the people that I lead on a day-to-day basis? So that's been truly incredible, and I think the rest of the Baton Rouge, Louisiana LSU community is kind of seeing the same thing. And not only to start that implementation, which is important, but to get it implemented so fast. I mean. Mm-hmm. I kind of mapped it out in my head before the season. All right, year one is about kind of establishing the culture and getting through all the hurdles that come with that. So there's going to be some good days. There's going to be some bad days. Year two is when you kind of take that big step forward and announce yourself. Here we are. We're for real. And then year three is where you're competing for championships. I mean, we're already competing for championships. You win an SEC West title in your first year, the toughest division in college football for the last 20 years. So it's been expedited, and it's a testament to not only him and what he's built and sort of the foundation that he's brought in, but the buy-in that he's generated from his coaching staff, from his players, from everyone in that building. I mean, it takes a village with your training staff and your your nutrition staff. I mean, there's just been a complete cultural transformation, and that's really, really hard to do. I think people are underestimating how difficult that is to do. He made it look, and the program made it look very easy, and it's not easy. So really excited about the future of the program, because you got that in place in year one. The sky's the limit moving forward.
I think in this business, Cody, and you know it in media, I would say it's probably the same in the role that you serve now. You're as good as your relationships are, right? And I think that relationships mean something in every business. And in media, your relationships you count on for information and things that you can provide to the public to give yourself credibility and create yourself as somebody that's a credible news deliverer. I thought the best relationship that we had at LSU and the most inside information that we got was off of LSU Gold. We only paid $9.99 to get great information. What was the feedback that you guys got from running this streaming service in the first year, and some of the things that you learned about content creating and doing it on such a large scale like y'all have taken on?
Yeah, a couple minor corrections. $8.99 a month.
Hey,
I'm gonna give everyone $1 back.
That's right.
And then second correction, I see I'm listed as Dr. Cody Worsham. There's only one doctor in the LSU athletic department, and that's Dr. Kent Lowe, so I can't claim that title. Yeah, the LSU Gold is very similar. A very powerful learning opportunity for our department. When we launched it, for me, it was about, and really for the group that put it together, Emily Dixon and her kind of taking the wheel and guiding a lot of what we do there, and then just the team that she's put together. This was about getting it launched year one. And the framing that I always think of is, in 2019, if we'd have been there behind the scenes like we were this year, for every single game, not only would that have been incredibly valuable during the season and people would have loved watching that, but you go back and watch it all the time. I mean, it'd be December, whatever today is, December 15th, and you'd be sitting there, hey, I got nothing to do. I'm going to go back and watch some of that 2019 season. So it's really about capturing it in the moment, but having it there historically. So, and then scaling that to all of our sports. So it's been a learning experience. It's been really positive. We've done some surveys with our fans, and the customer satisfaction is really high. It's 97, 98%, which we're happy about. The biggest thing is we just got to keep getting the word out and proving the value to people. And I'm always very happy and excited when someone like you who knows what good content is looks at it and is complimentary of it. But we know we got to keep raising the level. And one thing that I'll say, football's a huge piece of it. Mm-hmm. We do want to scale it to other sports, and this isn't even a plug. Like, I'm just telling you, as a let me take off my bias for a second. There's a men's basketball follow series called The Vision that Garrison Floyd, one of our video producers, is doing. And episode 2 of The Vision is one of the best things that I've watched all year anywhere. He went to the Cayman Islands with the team and followed them there. And the way that he framed the story, losing to the last second against Kansas State, was just incredible storytelling, high quality, dramatic. And it made we always want to celebrate the wins, right? And sometimes when you lose, you're like, how do you tell the story about the loss? And he just nailed it. It was about the way the team, felt the pain after that loss, but Matt McMahon addressed it after and said, your season will be defined based on how you respond to this. And then look at this weekend. They get down against Wake Forest. They fight their way back in. They get a last-second chance to win the game. They get another layup at the rim. This time the clock was not an issue, and it started on time. And Juice Hill finishes it. And so that's one. Think about the coaching there. You need 2 last-second shots. Matt McMahon dials up 2 layups at the rim. That's pretty good. But 2, they learned from that failure, and it just. That's what excites me about Gold is just that depth of access. I've never had that depth of access. Somebody that works there, I haven't been embedded with every single program, and that's kind of what we're doing now, which is exciting, and I hope people enjoy it because I think it's a really high quality offering. If you're a fan of the program, if you enjoy LSU athletics, there's no excuse. It's a great gift idea for the holidays, or if you just want to, like I said, we count on relationships in this business, and we
have really good relationships at LSU, none better than our LSU Gold account. I mean, like, I didn't learn more in any place than I did of just watching the content that they are putting out from the university. And Cody and his crew deserve a lot of credit for what's going on. I was going to ask you about that piece with basketball because I wanted to talk to you about McMahon before I get you out of here. And thanks for your time here on this Wednesday. But that was a tough task. I don't think that we understand the task that McMahon has taken on. And one thing is rebuilding the roster, and that kind of speaks for itself. But you're also you're going up against a fan base that has been embedded with a certain style and a certain personality that they're tough to come off of over the last 5 years. And I think McMahon is doing it in a way that it can only be done, and he's doing it by putting in the hard work, and you're seeing the results on the floor with his team, and it's making them. You can see the public start to buy in on this group.
Yeah, the first thing that's going to get buy-in is winning. So
exactly.
if McMahon wins, they'll if Coach McMahon wins, they'll rush to his support. But I think what I appreciate about Coach McMahon is very similar to Coach Kelly. He had a culture and a system that worked for him at Murray State, and he brought it over. And it's going to take a little time to install it, but you're already seeing some of those things come to light. As tough of a task as Coach Kelly faced last year, walking into a bowl game with 38 scholarship players, Matt McMahon, I don't know if a coach in college basketball has ever faced what he faced walking in with really no scholarship players on the roster, a lot of negative recruiting out there about the future of the program. And like you said, a fan base that was loyal to the previous coach who had a lot of success and was very engaged with the fan base and very passionate. I mean, he walked into as tall a task as you can walk into as a coach, and he just never blinked. And he's stuck to who he is. We talk a lot about LSU, about authenticity. He's been so authentic to himself and to his values and his beliefs. And you're starting to see the benefits of that. Like I said, when I go out and watch this team, I was there last night. They run good stuff. They play really hard. Defensively, they're getting better and better every game. And you're just seeing a lot of buy-in that's starting to get contagious with the rest of the team. And it almost is what I expected from football this year. You're just seeing that foundation clearly start to be evident through every player and through every game. It's becoming very, very clear in a lot of the small things, but the results will follow, and they are following. They're off to a 9-1 start. That was a big win against Wake Forest. The SEC is so tough this year that opening schedule for them is absolutely brutal. But I think you're going to see in those games and in the games ahead, a couple home games coming up here, which are huge. I think you're going to see a team that's well coached, that runs good stuff, that doesn't beat itself, that works through some mistakes and is still trying to get better as a team. But by March, I think you're going to look at this team and compare them to early in the season and just see the improvement. And so I'm excited about that. He's a really good basketball coach. As somebody that prides himself on being a basketball guy, I've seen a lot of really good basketball coaches, and he's got all those traits, and his team, it looks like a well-coached team. So excited to see where that program goes. He's just such a classy and high character coach. What he brings to the table, I'm excited about the future of LSU basketball.
Sticking with the coach real quick, I was watching the game last night, and I think it feels like, at least by my eyes, and it's just one-off, but I saw Matt McMahon with a little bit of emotion on the bench, and he was high-fiving players. He's kind of getting into it a little bit. Is he becoming more comfortable in the role as the LSU head coach, considering who he had to follow up?
Yeah, I think he's always been comfortable in that. It's going to be natural for anyone that's watching to compare Matt McMahon to Will Wade. Like you're always going to draw comparisons to the person that preceded you. I think Matt's been great about, and this is me sort of observing from the outside in. Me and him have not talked about this. I think he's been great about just focusing on who he is and who his program is. And I think any coach would tell you that's what you got to do. You got to come in and build your program. You can't really worry too much about the comparisons. You kind of have to block that out. I mean, it's no different than a quarterback that, every quarterback now is compared to Joe Burrow that comes through LSU, right? You're always compared to the guy that came before you and had success. So I think he understood that coming in, and he's just more focused on building his program and building it the way that he sees fit. And what I think is, it's all about where you start from. Do you start from the marketing and engagement side? Do you start from the branding side? Do you start from the, fan experience side? I think with Matt McMahon, he really just started with, I've got to put in the values, the 5 core values that he talks about, the standards, the 5 team standards he talks about. I have to put that in first, and my focus has to be solely on this team. Forget about, the challenge of putting together 13 scholarship players in a couple of months and how hard that is just to get the talent to fill. Like, then you have to figure out how to get 13 guys, most of whom have never played together, don't know each other, to trust each other, to buy in, to play well together, to develop those sort of instincts for each other. I think he really had to do a ground up build. And so he said, all right, we're just going to very, very steadily build things based on our values, our standards, and then our system. And I think the values and standards are there. They've bought in. They're all in on that. I'm sure there's going to be some struggles throughout the season, but they'll always go back to that. Now it's the systems being put into place. How are you going to play defense? How are you going to play offense? And now you're starting to see that start to click. And so then you can start building on that. And I think he's just been very focused on doing it his way, which, by the way, has been very successful. He won a lot of games at Murray State, and I think he's going to win a lot of games at LSU.
They win last night 67-57 over North Carolina Central, and as Cody said, one more versus Winthrop, and then SEC play, and LSU cannot hide. Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M to start. Cody, thank you for this morning. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody Worsham, and if this is the last time I see you, Cody, stay safe in the sunshine.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. See y'all later.
Later, buddy.
No class today.
There is Cody Worsham. He is the chief brand officer over at LSU, and you can follow him at Cody Worsham on Twitter. All right, we got to get to Caparotto here as we have been
making fun of the weather all day.
No, yes, and we're
guy.
getting close to him at 8:25.
Send him the link.
All right.
I didn't want to send it at the same time as Cody was on because we've run into some issues. Nate,
what's that guy still doing in here? Get out!
Who was our other guy? Oh, Chase Cicero.
Yeah, that was so sad. He was just sitting there patiently.
Is that
waiting.
Deshaun Womack? No.
Yeah, wait. No, yeah, that's what you said. Who said that? Was
Jordy.
it you? You said it.
It's old white.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I don't know about
he can't stop the run, can
I don't
he?
know about the recruiting class anymore.
So good.
All right, good stuff from Cody Worsham. Appreciate him for stopping by with us. We're going to take your phone calls, your questions, your comments, your text. Get involved here as Caparotto's got an 8:25 hit live on WAFB, so we might get him in before, or we're probably going to get him in after. I'm texting him back and forth. Either way, we'll get a report from the doc before we get out of here at 9 a.m. on.
Is he a doctor?
Yeah, he's a doc.
Yeah, like that chief
Doctor of weather.
meteorologists are doctors, right?
I don't know if all of them are.
If you're like the chief meteorologist,
Yeah,
don't you have to be?
Is Jay Grimes a doctor?
I don't know.
What if you do they call themselves doctors if they were at like if there's a brain surgeon there?
Does he introduce himself?
Right, it's like Dr. Steve Caparotto, and it's like
wow, doctor of what?
yeah,
Weather, you prick.
Yeah. Well,
how about that?
I operated on your
doctor.
I mean,
your wife's brain.
Doctor.
Will he be offended?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. I don't
know if Jay Grimes is a doctor.
He's a hell of a pickup basketball player. I will tell you that.
Is he really?
Yes. Throws elbows.
Dr. J.
He is the chief meteorologist, so.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I think he is.
He's a doctor?
He went to Southern Miss.
Wow.
Great. We should.
Maybe, unless it's a different Jay Grimes. That might be a different Jay Grimes.
It could be a different
We'll
Jay
have to
Grimes.
ask him.
I was getting ready to say if we got Jay on, I'd love to get his takes on old Brett and what's going on at Southern Miss. Speaking of doctors. Dr. Scam.
I got one, yeah. I got one I can give you.
I don't know if he's a doctor.
Brett's a doctor. Remember, he cured concussions.
That's right.
That's right.
Sniff this.
Yeah.
This?
This?
Brett? You sure?
Rub it on your neck. What are we talking about?
Here, smell this real quick. You should be good.
I keep it in my Crocs.
Remember Daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Katie, tell them about your food.
I haven't been there in a while, and I've got to get over there and try the St. Louis style
Get
pizza.
in the
But
kitchen.
I'm going to go when we're in New Orleans over Christmas because I have a bunch of picky eaters and they can satisfy all of that.
That's right.
We usually eat upstairs because it's so freaking busy in there, which is awesome. We always run into someone we know in there. We're not
Always.
even from New Orleans, which is so cool. The food is great on Iberville Street, and their sister restaurant, Francesca's, for some deli offerings. Get over to Katie's, especially during the holiday season. It's always super fun. Katie'sMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com.
We don't talk a ton of Major League Baseball here, but I mean,
no.
the amount of $300 million contracts that are being kicked around now. Does everybody get $300 million in the league? I mean, I'm reading right now, shortstop Carlos Correa, which I just remember him from the Astros. Where did he go, to the Twins after that?
Yeah, 1 year deal.
1 year deal?
I bet on himself.
Wow, well, it worked because he got 13 years, $350 million
How old is he?
from the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, how old is he?
I'm guessing here, and Correa he's a Latin player, right? So I don't know if they know his true age. But if I was to
I'm
guess,
12.
I would say he was 27. Let me see here. 27, maybe.
That's insane
He's
kind of money.
He's 28 years old.
From Puerto Rico. But yeah, he's going to be, quick math, 27 plus 13, Bueller.
But he's
Anyone?
28, you just said.
Yeah, 28 plus 13.
Thank you, teacher.
Yes. Well, that's new math. You go down one.
That
to
would be
get to-
41, right?
That would be 41.
But what about it? What's
That's
the-
how old he's going to be when he's done with the contract.
I don't think you want a 41-year-old shortstop out there.
I mean,
But just the way that they have to spread that amount of money out in baseball, it blows my mind. They're like, Albert Pujols is still getting paid. And it's just like, well, we have to. Like, he's still getting paid by the Angels. He signed like a 15-year deal, and it's like, he was 30. What do you think was going to happen? You can't play forever. But they have to stretch the money out to, I don't know how big. They don't have a salary cap, right?
no, they have no salary cap. That's why the
wild.
baseball money, I mean, they just...
Well, the baseball money exists because it's basically daily programming.
But I mean, like the amount of guys that are making like $15 million that, not that it means anything that I have never heard of them, but like you look at it and like they don't do anything like special. You know what I mean? Like they don't do anything.
That's
They
just
don't
the
hit
going
40
rate.
jacks a year.
Yeah.
They don't steal 40 bags a year. They don't. It's like
It's just what it costs.
they're
to
like
pay a
they're like a
player.
middle reliever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That like you use every fourth day, and like this guy's like
Plays
making
golf
like
4
$20
times a
million a
week.
year. You're like, damn! Look at the money in baseball, man. I
Well,
mean,
it's
like,
so hard to get there, so I think it's
Yeah.
all deserved because
No
they
doubt. I know. I mean, I know that
they
it's
take
a hell of
advantage of
it's
you.
a hell of a ride to get there, but just the amount of $300 million contracts,
it's insane.
That's stupid.
it's done. It is.
It's stupid
It's
money.
incredible, man.
The reason that, like I said, the reason they're able to do it is because they have all the local TV contracts, and guess who saw that model? The NFL. Like, well, we need more games. We
Yeah.
want to be able to put this on every night if we could. So that's how Major League Baseball makes their money. And you say $300 million, they're still like grossly underpaid.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much money baseball makes.
It is.
It's dumb. It is.
Because you saw that with the PGA as well, whenever they, like, Phil Mickelson exposed them a little bit, and they're like, oh, we had an extra $500 million in the coffer that they didn't want to talk about, but
Right.
they had to offer after the Live Tour thing happened. And it's like, I told you all, they've been squatting on all this money, and nobody cares. Except for Phil, because I was in a little bit of a
I'm in the
spot.
trap.
I'm out of money.
I'm
somehow.
trying to save myself from the mafia here, for God's sakes.
I told you I'll pay you back.
I'll get in the bed with the Saudis. I mean, like, will
can't get
anybody pay my debt?
Can't get any lower. Playing Baccarat.
Got Sinatra's people looking for me, man.
What was he gambling on?
Everything.
Every golf shot.
Everything. I mean, like, and he would tell you about it.
Oh, whenever they did the first match between him and Tiger, and he was like, they're both mic'd up, and he's like, 500 grand if I make birdie, and Tiger was like, right, like on this hole, and he's like, this shot, and he was like, yeah, and you could say that like Tiger, like obviously Tiger's not a gambler,
Right.
and Phil was like nothing, like acted like it was normal. It's like, oh, he's gambling. You're just get casual 500K. I'm ready to lose.
Wow. 500,000.
Mic'd up, doesn't care about saying it to anybody, and even Barkley was like, oh shit,
Damn, bro.
I had it bad.
I mean, you letting them know like that?
Come on, Ty.
All right, what's your mailbag questions? Get them in.
we
Have a
have
take,
any
don't
voicemails?
suck. Any text over there, Lloyd?
We do have some text.
All right. Are they about the
see.
weather?
Yes.
Or Tatum? David Tatum?
Wes Shin said that he heard an F-bomb on the way to school this morning with the kids. Wes, where
What
are
school are you
where's-
going
What
to?
school do you go
We're
to?
transferring.
Yeah, right. I mean, send me the contact.
Come on.
Tell the kid I'm
school?
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm not apologizing.
The host is a little mad.
Yeah, I feel bad about that.
We have a voicemail. We get it hooked up.
I thought it was a text.
$500,000
Well, I
on a
can't
putt.
read it. He said there's some language.
What is
Oh,
this
really?
stuff that you got me sniffing here,
Who's
Lloyd?
it from?
Oh, that's ammonia.
Is this like the
Smelling
is this
sauce.
the smelling sauce?
It's all over Lloyd's clothes and
unreal.
stuff,
I
like
know.
all over his computer. Like what?
Well, one exploded on me
Why are you like addicted to this now? I feel
because
like
I'm
it
tired
can't be
all the
good.
time, and it just
Golly,
wakes you
it
up.
works,
It can't be
It
good
does.
to smell ammonia that much.
I'll put worse things up there.
I mean, it burns the nose.
It does.
You
No,
wanna try
I
it?
don't.
You sure?
He forced me into it. He held me down, and I've had to breathe it in the other day.
Ooh,
so
I don't know if we need to tell.
want it.
That's,
That is
dude, we
not
do
how
have
it
laws
happened.
over here in
He came
FM.
over
For
here
God's
and, like,
sakes,
kept
man.
holding it till
I didn't
I had-
hold her down. She was just
Fucking
trapped
Better
in the
Business
chair.
Bureau beating down the door
He
here in
stood
an
over
hour.
me. I was trapped. I had to breathe.
Yeah, Matt Lauerter. I clicked the button on the desk.
Oh, Matt Lauer, I miss him.
See? Oh,
I
you
do,
can
I
get away
miss
with
him.
anything if you're good looking
You got
enough.
canceled, huh?
He did
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
he got
canceled. I
canceled.
didn't think he was really attractive. I just really liked him. I'm still really sad about him.
Well,
He's the one that stood toe to toe with Tom Cruise, right? Didn't him and Cruise have like a bad
They
interview?
did over the
What is
glib
it?
stuff.
When he like Tom,
That's glib.
chill,
Matt.
bro.
Glib.
He's like,
Glib. He used that word.
what's
remember?
your Tom? What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
What are you doing? Was that like the first time Tom lost his mind on?
I
No,
think
that was on Oprah.
The beginning. Well, on Oprah, he jumped on the couch,
couch.
to
Yeah, that's
declare
losing
his
your
love
mind.
for Katie Holmes. That was.
But I mean, him and Matt Lauer
yeah,
like
they
had
went at it.
Like as far as live programming's going, and look,
Contentious?
I do live programming, and there are some things that you are like clearly intimidated by, and you don't want to get into like some like
Oh, we're gonna do this on
full-thrown
air?
debate. You know what I mean? Like with Tom Cruise, had to be like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was awkward.
But I thought Lauer handled it well.
He did.
Oh man, Tom
Like
was
he
crazy.
stood
He
his
was
ground.
very professional.
He
always.
was. He was kind of like, Tom.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
man?
nothing shook him.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, like.
I loved him.
And I thought he was, yeah, right.
I'm sad about it.
Alley Boys, what's up with Denver Harris? Meeting today. Hopefully they can drive in with all the weather. In talking to some of the family members recently, I know that today was the scheduled meeting day. So with all the rain that is here.
I already had my
and
dentist
affecting
text
traveling
me
brand,
and change an appointment because
no.
of the rain. Like I have a crown
I've had
put
2
on
meetings
at
canceled
3.
this morning because kids not in school.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But now I have to go to the dentist at 12 because of the afternoon's pending storm. So I got to get that crown on.
Hello, this is the Culotta
Is that Doc? Oh, like, do we have Caparotto?
I'm from Detroit.
Ah, my man. Yes.
Hey.
Motown's finest, baby.
Yes.
Now I'm from the D. I'm from New Orleans, man. Seventh Ward. I've been living in Detroit for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
man.
Shout out to the
I'm
Seventh
like,
Ward.
I'm from the Seventh Ward, bro.
Hell yeah, baby.
Right,
Let-
Starling
Detroit
Park,
ain't got
baby.
shit on
You know-
me.
McDonald 35, baby.
You know Big Fournette?
1990.
You know Big Fournette?
Oh no, I don't. No, I'm not gonna false claim. I don't know him, bro.
Right, right.
I probably knew him. I probably knew his family, but you know,
Sure.
I've been living in Detroit for 30 years. I don't false claim, baby. You
I
know,
hear that,
I
baby.
don't know
That's
you
true
don't
New
know.
Orleans right there, baby.
I'm there, no, bro, for sure.
So what got you on Monday?
Oh yeah, what y'all talked about with Deion Sanders.
Yes.
I totally agree, man. You hit a nail on the head.
I appreciate it, man. I think it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of
Yep.
time.
And you know what the thing about it is they were trying to protect that good old boy system. That's all
Yep.
that's about, man.
Yep.
You gonna wind up taking a hooker,
That's right.
smashing Hugh Freeze over an icon.
That's right.
That's got the ass of 9, ass of 10, ass of 11,
If-
dog.
If I was
It is what it is.
if I was
I'm happy
Colorado,
he did it.
I'd schedule
I'm happy
Auburn.
he did it. Shit, I should send him a damn thank you card because I was checking in my boots. I said, I hope they don't hire him
I know.
because we can't get no recruits.
I know you're right. You're right. I'm
We
telling
definitely
you,
gonna be DBU no more. That's
LSU
it for that.
LSU dodged a bullet. So did the SEC
Yeah,
West,
we
man.
dodged the bullet, man. You totally hit it on the nail.
Thank you for listening as always, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
All right.
That was my comment. Another thing, man, we gotta talk more about the Pelicans, dog.
I know,
we got
bro.
weapons of mass destruction down there, for real, man.
know.
Honestly, them boys putting in work. So we gotta talk more about the Pelicans, man. I love it. And me being in Detroit, you know, I got them Pistons to look at. So, hey, I love seeing what the Pels doing, man.
Pels flying high
Trick or
right now.
Treat, we got the BG. You know what I'm saying? We got them boys. We got Thanos. You know what I'm saying?
Thanos.
We got gangsters down there. We got Grand Theft Alvarado, bro. I mean, we doing some work down there, so you got to put them Pelicans on, man, for real. But like I said, you hit the nail on the coffin with that Deion Sanders 9 high. That was dumb, brother. And like I said, but you know, this Alabama, so you know what you expect.
That's right.
So
That's right.
take care, man.
All right, baby. I'll see you. All right, right down the road, we go to right down Government Street to our favorite, our news partner, Dr. Steve Caparotto here. On a day that the weather is affecting all of us, we go to our guy, our meteorologist here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Dr. Cap, good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing fine, Jordy. How about you?
I'm doing good. Everybody is blaming you for calling off school today. Are you taking that blame?
No.
Okay.
You got any harder questions than that one?
Thank you, Doc. We'll see you tomorrow. No, I'm talking.
All right. It's good being here, Jordy.
No, I'm kidding.
So look, no, real quick. You know, we get the calls from some of the school districts. My 2 daughters, I was communicating with their school yesterday. From my perspective, what I do is I present them the information. I don't give them an opinion on one side or another on actually making the closure decision. I just tell them what the weather's going to be and let them make the hard decision. And I tell each one of those guys, it is a no-win situation. Yeah. Because there's people on both sides of this. There's some parents that really want the kids home and feel safe with everybody home, and then there's some that are, you know, of the mindset, boy, we never did this when we were kids, right? So you can't win.
Yeah, sorry, that was me this morning. Doc, so what are we looking at? What's going on today?
So it's been probably a little quieter than expected so far this morning. We had a line of storms overnight, stalled a little bit northwest of us, but it's shown the potential. We've had up along the state line some areas with 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. We've seen a number of warnings out to our west. You might have seen, sadly, 2 fatalities up in North Louisiana in Caddo Parish. We think that was a tornado, a mother and her child that lost their lives. So gives everybody an idea of the potential. So right now we're starting to see a little rain develop around Metro Baton Rouge, but we think here within a couple of hours, as we get closer to lunchtime, the storms are really going to ramp up. So as we get close to lunch and through about mid-afternoon, that looks like kind of prime time for this severe weather event. And everything we're looking at, the atmosphere still looks very supportive of severe weather, a few tornadoes today. So even though it maybe has been quieter than probably some people expected this morning, don't let your guard down. The threat still looks very real.
Dr. Steve Caparotto from WAFB. He, of course, a part of our news partnership over at WAFB. Great meteorologist and great weather center over there. Easy to keep up with what they're doing on social media. Easiest way to link with him is at Steve WAFB on Twitter to keep up. Steve, what can we count on from you guys today as this weather rolls through? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so we're on top of it this morning. Myself, Jared Silverman, we're in here. Jeff Morrow being shortly. Jay was in overnight, and we overlapped. He'll be back. So basically, we're keeping a close eye on radar right now. If we get any warnings, especially tornado warnings, we'll be on air. We'll have all those warnings going to social media. If we start getting into any sort of extended coverage, wall-to-wall coverage, you'll be able to catch that not only on TV, the old school media, but it'll be on new media. We'll have that on our apps. We'll be streaming that on the website, digital platforms. So just anywhere, however you find us typically, we'll be there. But we're watching it right now. Keep in mind, there is a tornado watch already. That's in effect through 1 o'clock. Decent chance that probably even gets extended a little bit later into the afternoon. Also a flood watch in effect through 9 o'clock. So we'll have plenty to track.
Dr. Steve Caparotto from WAFB, the best in the business. Follow him on Twitter at Steve WAFB. Thank you, Doc. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Jordy.
All right, man. See you. There is Dr. Caparotto. All right, back to your mailbag questions.
He shut us down.
He did.
He shut us down.
He did. Read the room there.
The room there. Yeah, he did.
Didn't want to get. I didn't want to broach the doctor conversation.
That's right.
I didn't either. I thought about it, and I was like, no.
Yep.
He's not super happy with our rants.
Dr. Nothing.
I get it.
Yep. It's okay.
PhD.
Like he said, 2 sides of the fence.
Yep.
I want to get a PhD just so you have to call me doctor.
I'll just
Is that
call
all
you doctor
it takes?
anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
I'll call you doctor.
Doctor.
I'm in.
I'll be your doctor.
I'm in. Sweet. No school. I'll take it.
Dr. Mike.
Who called? Call him back.
Okay. We have
Who
a
called?
voicemail.
Oh, it's a voicemail?
No, but I can call. I think it was Clint from the parish.
Oh, of course it
definitely.
was. Clint.
Let's call him back and find out.
The parish.
Nothing better than the cold call.
I agree.
Hello.
Hello, this is the Culotta Show. Have a take, don't suck. Calling you back. What's your name? Where are you from?
This is Naquilas Dilwad from Baton Rouge.
Oh, well.
So you're hunkered down today.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hunkered down. I'm actually in Gonzales at office. We got the big Christmas party going on.
Oh, wow. What time does it start up? What time we should be there?
Yeah.
What do we need to bring?
Just bring a funny hat and show up around noon.
Okay.
Bring your green hat.
Dr. Caparotto
Exactly.
said the world's about to turn over at noon. Are you canceling? Are y'all going to cancel the party?
It's the end of the world party.
Yeah, exactly. This is how it ends.
A band of showers sweeps through South Louisiana.
We're not ready.
Naquilas,
right.
what's up, dude?
Well, I was just calling. I was trying to figure out. I don't think this is the case. I think it was a great football season.
Mm-hmm.
But LSU went from 9-2, ranked 5. If they lose to Purdue, all of a sudden you've lost 3 in a row, 2 to unranked teams, and it would anybody. And of course, you've got those shake your fist at the sky guys that they hate Jaden Daniels and all that good stuff. Sure. But would anybody really, with any know-how, consider this kind of a failure or a collapse towards the end of the season?
I've heard that over the last couple of days. I really don't think that you can evaluate LSU in the first season of Brian Kelly and what they've accomplished up to this point, and at any rate rule it as a failure. Did they finish the season the way that you would have liked? No, but what they accomplished and what they were able to install and implement and build for the future in season 1 and have people bought in to what Kelly is building, I don't think could have worked out any better for anybody involved in LSU football. I think that's a compliment to the season. Naquilas, is really the way that it ended and asking whether or not if it was a failure. Right? I mean, like,
I agree with you.
You're talking about going to Atlanta and getting blown out by a potential national champion in Georgia. And really, that loss to Texas A&M, I think, is the one that you look back on when you get it far enough away from this season and say, that's just the one where you didn't get off the bus. You know, I mean, like it or love it, or, you know, like it or hate it, you know, that's just the night that LSU decided not to show up. And usually there's one game a season where that happens to everybody, and whether or not you're good enough to be able to overcome that, you know, determines this, you know, kind of depends on the season, depends on who you are, depends on how you're built. And LSU's not built like that, where they can have an off night and still win. I mean, they've had many of those nights. I mean, we've seen LSU have off nights with better teams than the other squad and barely win the game. Field goal at the end, missed field goal by the opposition, a big play that went their way in an otherwise very ugly game, and LSU, just because they had a couple of better players, wins the game. They're not in that mold yet where they can afford not to be dialed in when they get off the bus. If they're not, they can get beat on any particular night, and that's what happened to them against A&M. All in all, though, my favorite part of the season was the month of November. I mean, that's really when I thought, hey, like Brian Kelly said, they're not pretenders, they're contenders.
The November is where he earned that contract. That's for sure.
I agree, man. It's great to hear from you, man.
All right, y'all too.
All right, dude, I'll see you.
Yep. All right, guys. Hey, the weekend, if anybody hadn't gotten to the woods yet, this is the weekend to go kill something. They're going to be moving.
I'll be there.
Why this weekend? What happens? Like just the weather?
They sense the weather.
Colder?
It's colder weather. It's been really hot. Deer sit down when it's hot, and
I thought you were talking
falling
about birds.
pressure. Well, birds too. Yeah.
How much does like the moon and stuff count? Like,
the gravitational
right.
pull.
Everybody shut the fuck up.
Well, it's not. It's not so much the, and this is really a Dr. Steve question, but it's not so much the moon's effect on tides and all that pressure and BS. It's really that if a full moon comes out, it gives them a ton of light to move around at night and eat. So they're gonna lay down during the day. And if you've got, a half moon or whatever it's called, a waning gibbous or some kind of technical term, if you got a sliver moon, you got a better chance of them coming out right at dusk or a little before, because they don't have as much light to move around at night.
Damn, you're like
Look
the
at
deer
that.
doctor.
Niquelis.
Like a werewolf.
That was kind of a little Brett Favre learning nickel.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's all it takes.
That's all?
Why don't
So
they
you just put a safety on the field? That's all. So if there's a full, it just means that they're eating throughout the night?
Why don't you just put a spotlight
I mean,
on
I got deer hunting friends that make that seem like that's like the once in a lifetime. It's a full moon. We got to get out of there.
Let the secret out.
Jesus. All right. Thank you.
Well, that's the point, Lloyd. You can't shoot them at night. You can't spotlight them. I mean, you can. You'll just go to jail for it.
Yeah, right. Not at Lloyd's camp, you can't.
Jordy's the one that took 2 down.
That's right. Fuckers.
All right, guys.
All right, see you, man.
They're overpopulated in this area.
Totally. They're such a problem.
Niquelis Dilwad, a longtime listener. It's good to hear from him, man.
You waxing or waning?
What do you mean?
Wax on, wax off.
Moon.
I'm waxing for sure.
Full Brazilian.
Yeah, right.
Full Brazilian moon.
I had no idea, though. I had no idea what that means. Yeah, we have voicemail?
Yeah, here
Hit
we
me.
go. Play.
As Niquelis Dilwad calling in.
God.
Got a question. First of all, great
did
season
too
for-
much.
I love how everyone in the chat is like, he's white.
What's up, Jordan and the crew? This is Clint from the parish.
Got parish.
We about to launch the boat and go catch some redfish. I don't know about the rain, but we got a few hours to get out there and burn some reds up and drink us a few fence posts. I got 2 quick questions for you, my man, you and the crew. If you had to pick one player, bigger impact on the year, Jaden Daniels or Harold Perkins? And the other little comment I had is that lineman DJ Chester. I've been watching a lot of film on him the last few days, and I think he's going to be a hell of a guard for us, man. Either on side of Campbell or either side or offensive line, but I think he'll start pretty quick. He's big and he's athletic, Y'all have a great day, man, and watch that weather. Don't get burned up by one of them tornadoes. Later.
All right, Clint.
Like sun shining through.
Good luck in the boat
Through
today,
our
bro.
windows.
Put him in a boat.
Does the moon affect the fish as well?
I don't know. Jordy does it.
I can't answer fishing. I'm just a master deer hunter.
You're just a moon expert.
That's right.
And we have another voicemail. This is Jeff and Kenner.
Hit me. Let me answer that question. What was the question?
Ooh,
on
I don't
for
wanna
a
answer
more
that
valuable player.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Perkins or
Harold
Daniels?
Perkins, or I mean, I
That's
feel
a
like
loaded
any
question.
question that involves Perkins, I have to choose him. But you put me up against Jaden Daniels, and you take Daniels off this team, and they lose multiple games. I think they lose more games than they lost this season. I think both players affect outcomes of games. I think Jaden Daniels obviously affects the game more because he touches the ball every play. I think a quarterback is so important in football. I mean, you look at the haves and the have-nots in football, and it's usually a clear indicator. Do you have a quarterback or not? If you don't, we ain't worried about you. If you do, we're game planning for you. And Jaden Daniels and LSU provided, they proved that he was a dude, and people had to get ready for him, and people had to game plan for him, and people had to scheme against him, and that was an issue for a lot of people. And because of that, Daniels is probably the more valuable player to LSU this past season. Now, if you're asking me to choose one moving forward, going into next year, and this is a tough take, and it's probably unfair to Jaden Daniels because of how well he played this season. I saw Matt Hayes of the Sporting News put out an article that said it was, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it ultimately said Jaden Daniels is the starter. Everything else is silly at LSU. They said like the fact that people are debating that around LSU football is comical to him, and I get, I really do get that. I mean, I really do it because I mean, what else can Daniels do? Ultimately, all he can do is go out there and perform, and he performed at a really high level. All season long, the majority of the year. Can we cherry pick and say that there was a couple of decisions and maybe even a game against, like Texas A&M where some things just didn't go his way? He didn't play well against Arkansas, right? But all in all, Jaden Daniels was the most valuable player on LSU in 2022. But if you were asking me to choose out of Daniels and Perkins moving forward, and not just because Perkins has more eligibility, both of them have eligibility to play next season. And if I could have one of them next year, I'd choose Perkins. And I know that's probably misaligned with everything that I just said, but I believe that LSU can replace that position better than they could find another Harold Perkins.
That's a really good take.
And I think
thing.
that's where I kind of sit on. I think Jaden Daniels undoubtedly is the 2022 MVP of LSU's team, and he's the more valuable player
this year. But
moving forward, I would take Perkins 10 out of 10 times and watch a quarterback battle between Garrett Nussmeier and Walker Howard, year 3 for Nussmeier and year 2 for Howard, and think you've got enough talent in and around these guys that they're good enough to win games for you. And I hate that for Jaden Daniels, because Daniels deserves another, if he wants to come back, he should be he should be the guy. He should have to lose his job. He shouldn't be in an open quarterback competition for what he and how he played this year, but that's how it's going to be. That's how it feels like it's going to be.
Well, and I think Jared had a good take on this on Mic'd Up. It feels like it would send a terrible message to the team if Jaden Daniels comes back and isn't announced as the starter. Like, it doesn't feel like he should have to battle. I'm sure they will battle, but he's going to be the guy that gets the first reps, I'd imagine, whenever you trot out against Florida State, just because what kind of message does that send to your team of somebody who pretty much gave his all for LSU?
Unless he totally loses it.
Right. But I'm talking about that won't happen in spring or fall. He's going to be your starter if he comes back week 1.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got anything else?
We do. Jeff.
Hello, Jordy Culotta Show. This is Jeff and Kenner reporting live from Kenner. Boy, it is a treacherous day here in Kenner. I just wanted to report the weather. It's dark. It's scary. Oh, my God, the wind. It's whipping at an incredible 4 or 5 miles per hour. I barely can stand up out here. And, oh, my God, wait a minute. Something just hit my arm. Oh, it's a raindrop. I'm sorry, guys. I have to get back inside right now. But I hope everyone stays safe out there. Be careful driving in these treacherous conditions. And, oh, wait a minute. The sun's coming out. Oh, it's beautiful. Bye.
Thank you, Jeff. It's great to hear from you. Thanks for playing along.
The sun is out. I can see it out there.
All right, this is a big story in high school football and something to watch out for. First off, the Catholic High job is open right now.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's an enormous job. David Semino, who was at Catholic High Point Capee for a decade before he took the job at Catholic High, won a state championship in his first year, got knocked out in the semis in his second year by John Curtis, agreed to terms to take the Central job, I believe officially. It happened yesterday. Like I said, I was in the Dome over the weekend, and this was the buzz of the Dome. Everybody was talking about Semino going to Central. Is Semino going to go to Central? Is Catholic High going to open up? What's going to go on there? So now that this domino has fallen, and Central is now has found the replacement to Sid Edwards, which, by the way, the more you find out the story of kind of how that went down with Sid, that's a rogue deal out there in Central. And look, I love David Semino. David Semino is as good as they make him, man, and he is a fantastic football coach. But there's only one Sid Edwards. There's only one Sid Edwards in this state. There's only one Sid Edwards for high school sports. There's only one Sid Edwards that impacts and influences people and kids' lives like he has by the thousands since he's been doing this. And if some of the stories that at least I've heard, and I don't want to put them on in the air because I'm not trying to get into the politics and get into the drama of Central, but Sid Edwards is, man, you may not realize what you have until you don't. And not to say that David Semino can't come in there and experience success, because he can. And this is nothing against him. I love David Semino like a brother. We played on the same high school football team together and has followed his career the entire time. And I've always been supportive, and I know he's going to be successful at Central. but I also played for Sid Edwards and have a loyalty to him and know what he means and what he has done for not only me, but for kids just like me by the thousands. And I know what he gave Central, and I think a lot of people in Central knows what he gave them. And for him to be treated like he was on the way out or at the end is inexcusable. It's just there has to be a certain sense of respect when it comes down. You can make that decision. You know what I mean? By no means am I saying that you cannot not make that choice by, asking him not to come back or removing him from his duties as head football coach or whatever it is. But there's a way to do that and a way to treat people who have given a community, a town, a place, a school, a lot. I mean, think about what Central was when Sid got there. And people that were in Central know it, right? And look, I love the people of Central. I love them. But Sid Edwards deserved more respect on the way out than what he got. So now the Catholic High job is open. And there's a couple of names that are surfacing on Catholic High. And I keep hearing David Brewerton's name pop around. And Brewerton played at Catholic High. He's from Baton Rouge. He's got a lot of his friend base that is here still that, still kind of from that era of Catholic High football. Guys like Rob Funderburk and that crew that are, Rob Fundy's over at Red Stick Sports. They still, duck hunt together and still, go to LSU games together and still talk ball together. I mean, a lot of his social circle is still here. The gig he's got at Zachary, and I don't know it, line for line, but I spent a lot of time with Brew out at Zachary. We did the Dawn of a Legacy documentary with him, and that relationship that we had with Coach Brew really allowed us the access to kind of get in there, and he was, so awesome with us. You know what I mean? Like he opened the doors to what I believe is consistently the best high school football program in the state of Louisiana right now, in David Brewerton and Zachary. And he's been there a decade now. And he's won multiple state championships. And he just got knocked out in the semis with a really good team. And he's got a sweet gig, man. I mean, like, when you go out there and you see the gig that Zachary football is, it's probably as good as our state can offer. Facilities, support, classification, education, the community support, everything that goes in that you're looking for to run a football program, Zachary offers that. Brewerton has taken that role and really, what did we say earlier this week? What's how I define good coaching is, did you leave it better than you found it? Right? Did you leave it better than it was when you arrived? And Neil Weiner had taken Zachary as far as he could get them. And he had taken them deep into the playoffs, and he had really kind of started to develop a reputation that they were becoming a player. David Brewerton put them over the top and made them the most intimidating program in the state of Louisiana. And for that, he's recognized as one of the top coaches. And 10 years at one place is a long time. 10 years at any place it's a journey, right? And I know that I was around Zachary enough this year where you can hear people talking in the stands. You can hear people kind of, scuttling on the sideline about what they think and what they want. And when you have as much success as Zachary has, everybody wants in. Like a lot of people want to stand on the sidelines. A lot of people want to be around the games on Friday night. A lot of people want to have you out for a coach's breakdown in the middle of the week where they can fill a room up with influential people and listen to you speak. That also gives them a sense of entitlement that they believe that they can voice up on and that they can speak on. And if you know Brewerton don't play that stuff, man. He doesn't. He'll play the game as much as he needs to play the game for what his role is. He knows the responsibility of Zachary's head football coach. He knows what that comes with. He knows that he's got a smile in the line at the restaurant when he may not be having a good day. He understands the PR of it, and he's never disrespected that. But things like people telling him on what he should do or decisions he should make or players he should play doesn't vibe well with Brewerton. And as sweet as the deal is out there, and it's sweet, man. I think we've told you before, he's got upwards of 14 coaches on staff that, like, none of them teach. I mean, like, I don't know where you can get like that type of gig in a lot of places, that type of support, that type of money, that type of clearance where you can bring in. I mean, his staff is stacked with big time coaches, man. You know, like guys that have like reputable names in the state or are staff members at Zachary. And he has turned that thing into a monster. I mean, it is Alabama football. It is West Monroe of the 90s, of the the early 2000s. It's the most dominant, consistent program in the state of Louisiana. They got beat by Ruston last Friday night, and Ruston's coming on with guys like Kyle Williams as their defensive coordinator now. But from a consistent clip over the last 6 years, Zachary's the cream of the crop. So it's going to take, in my opinion, I've not talked to anybody around Zachary, Brewerton, any of them. It's going to take a sweet deal for him to even pay attention to anything, because the gig he's got is about as good as the state can provide. I think there's one school that he would listen to. I think it's one school. I think it's Catholic High. I think it's because he played there. I think he's from here. I think he's always looked at that gig as kind of the mountaintop of what Louisiana offers in football. I think he's their top choice. I also have heard Chad Mahaffey's name being kicked around. And Mahaffey's over at Walker now. He spent 9 years at University High, turned that thing into a monster, multiple state championships. Mahaffey and I have a great relationship. He and I started doing the radio calls at University when he was there. And as you heard with, Keelan Moses yesterday, his older brother Dylan, that's when we were there calling the radio. We called every single one of guys like Dylan Moses, Nick Brissett, Tim Williams, Jaqueline Roy, all of their snaps in high school, we were doing the radio for University. So we had a front row seat at those teams. John Gordon McKernan was the quarterback on that 3-time state championship team. And Mahaffey was an innovator, man. He's a great coach. He's a fantastic coach. And look, I know he's been out of the mix for a little while over the last couple of years at Walker, but you can't ever count him out just for how bright he is. Another one played at Catholic High, went to Catholic High. Might have been on the same teams with Brewerton. So you got a couple of guys, and don't forget about Neil Weiner, who's over at Dunham, where his dad turned Catholic High football into Catholic High football.
Is he in the mix?
I'd imagine his name's being kicked around. I mean, he just came off of a state championship run. I mean, a state title run. Right. He finished second. He was a runner-up, but I mean, it was a hell of a year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it came down to he's got a lot of respect within the coaching circle of high school football. Those three names, Brewerton, Mahaffey, and Weiner, at least for South Louisiana, below kind of like Monroe and Ruston and those areas, are probably three of the hottest names in the profession, in the trade, at least in our state. They come with as much cachet as anybody. I mean, they've been doing it long enough where they've got the respect of the state, but particularly down here in South Louisiana, I mean, those three, along with Sid, Sid's out of work too right now. Mm-hmm. And they got a couple of gigs that are opening up. But maybe they just kind of play musical chairs. Mm-hmm. Maybe something like a scenario exists where Brewerton goes to Catholic, Mahaffey goes to Zachary, and Sid goes to Walker. And Semino's at Central.
And Trev Falk.
And that's what I was getting to next.
Yeah, Carl the Cat wrote in, so I just want to give him his props for bringing it up.
And Trev Falk made some news last night that he's resigning as Lafayette Christian's head football coach. And Falk is another one that is a fantastic coach at the prep level. They fell to St. Thomas More in the Division
God, good luck.
2, I believe, state championship. He spent 7 seasons at Lafayette Christian. He made 6 consecutive state championship appearances. Is that any good? He won 4 of the 6. Falk's a great coach. I've had people ask me on whether or not he's gotten an LSU offer. If LSU's offered to put him on staff. Something's up. Something's going on. I haven't been able to confirm that. I've heard some rumors about it, but nothing that bears any types of reports on it. But I will tell you this. A great state championship coach, a 4-time state championship coach, doesn't just resign overnight without something in play. There's something going on with Falk, and we'll be paying attention to it. Wherever he lands next will be interesting. But if he's staying in the prep game, if he's staying in the high school game, you know, I mean, he could be a domino that you have to watch here that could be somebody that steps in to one of these jobs. They got a couple of big jobs that potentially could open up in high school football, and maybe, you know, if not the biggest, one of the biggest in Catholic high school right now is sitting vacant. So wherever J.P. Kelly, the athletic director, goes there, and maybe he calls Gabe Fertitta back over at Florida State and asks him if he wants his old gig back. I don't know. But wherever that job lands, wherever it goes, that's going to have effect on other schools as well. So watch out some of the stories that's happening around high school football right now. We got a jam-packed day over here at FM Digital Media. Kador's show, Chopping It Up with Kador, got moved to 9 a.m. this morning. So Kador and the crew will be getting going here shortly. Make sure you're tuned into them. Mikey Matuk and Mic'd Up will be originating from its original time at 6 o'clock. Don't forget about Mic'd Up as always, coming to you live here from FM Digital Media.
And Shay Dixon, 10 to 11 for the Power Hour.
Shay Dixon for our LSU football recruiting Power Hour with Shay Dixon. Every Wednesday,
Shout out
we will talk recruits. It's going to be a big one, man. They got a lot of stuff happening right now. Taviano is in the news. Javion Taviano, who is one of the top defensive backs in the country, is trending towards LSU. He's set to make an announcement here pretty soon. So Shay, you'll have the latest on that. Make sure you're tuned in to the Power Hour segment coming up here this morning on the Jordy Culotta Show. Thanks for all of you being involved. Thanks for everybody listening. Thanks for everybody being out there. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Make sure and stay safe. Is this the last time you could potentially hear my voice after today's rain showers? We are all in jeopardy out there today. Make sure you stay safe, stay out of the elements, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
It is windy
Hopefully.
out there.
Hopefully.
Wind's blowing.
Is it?
Yeah, I heard it slammed the gate.
I don't see a leaf moving right now through the window. I don't see a dang leaf moving.
I ain't see a tree blow over.